Welcome back. It's day 4 of the Diddy trial. Heavily pregnant, Cassie Ventura is back on the stand now for the cross-examination, where Diddy's lawyers today, Anna Estevio, have been trying to paint this picture of Cassie Ventura being in a consensual and willing participant in this abusive relationship. From what I gather, Diddy's defense team has been an absolute gong show. The cross-examination was slow out of the gate, and later on, around lunchtime, it erupts over the length of time that Diddy's lawyers want to take to cross-examine Cassie, indicating that this was going to spill over into the following week. Both the prosecutors as well as the judge are getting quite frustrated because it was stated that Cassie was only going to be able to testify till the end of this week. I mean, she's heavily pregnant. Any day now she could have this baby. The good news is that the judge is firm in making sure that Cassie gets off the stand on Friday. Bad news for the defense team because they wasted the first half of today in wasting time on things that could have been done ahead of time, like submitting these explicit texts and cutting down on some of the exhibits that they were having Cassie read through. Now, as I had mentioned in my yesterday's video, I'm of the opinion that the prosecution didn't do such a great job in sticking to why they were there for the trial in the first place, which was the racketeering and the sex trafficking. Instead, there was a lot of emphasis focused on this relationship. Now, at the time that I formed this opinion, it didn't dawn on me that Cassie is about to give birth. So it's likely that they put Cassie in the very beginning because they didn't want to risk her having this baby and not being able to testify. The other thing that I think might be their strategy from the prosecution side is pretty much laying the foundation to painting this picture of the kind of man that Diddy is, this monster. And this was a way for them to set the scene. I'm hoping that this is the case, and the people that they bring in after Cassie are going to go into details about the business affairs and the criminal activity that had been going on, because that's what really this case is all about. It's not about this relationship or how abusive he was to his girlfriends. It's about the racketeering and the trafficking, especially if there's any underage trafficking going on. But before we get started, I'd like to issue a trigger warning. Viewer discretion is advised. There are some sensitive topics being discussed in today's video that maybe is not appropriate for children, as well as some adults who have gone through similar experiences. So just a heads up. So the court kicks off today with hearing about messages exchanged between Cassie Ventura and Sean Diddy Combs during their 11-year relationship. Combs referred to Cassie as baby girl, and in one message from her BlackBerry in 2009, he says, "I love you so much, it makes me cry." In another email exchange from 2010, Ms. Ventura tells him she is going to sleep and that she loves him, and he replies, "I love you so much, it consumes my life." In another message from 2009, Cassie tells him, "I love you so much, I can't wait till we don't care anymore." As Cassie mentioned when she was being questioned by the prosecution, was that they weren't open with their relationship because Diddy was in a relationship with Kim Porter during that time. Cassie tells the court she would travel to see Combs and that they had long breaks away from each other. She was asked by the defense why she wanted to spend so much time with him, and she said, "Because I fell in love with him. He was charismatic, a big personality, larger than life." Cassie goes on to say the beginning of their relationship was really fast-paced, scary. But the more time she spent with him, she saw what she thought was his real personality coming out, sweet and attentive. Next, Diddy's defense gets into talking about these freakoffs. Defense lawyer Anna Estevio asked Cassie Ventura about the freakoff allegations that have been central to the case thus far. Cassie has alleged she endured hundreds of intimate sessions with escorts under the influence of drink and mind-altering substances, and that they were directed by Sean Combs while they were together. So then, literally 45 minutes into the court session, explicit texts come out in the court showing how excited Cassie was to be intimate with Diddy. As it says here in one of the texts, "I'm always ready to freak off. LOL. Cassie wrote in a BlackBerry message to Combs on August 5th, 2009, roughly 2 years into their relationship when she was in her early 20s and he was in his late 40s. According to Cassie, the duo decided they would hold one of the marathon intimate sessions on Friday night that week. The jury also heard more explicit messages in which Cassie seemed to express excitement about taking part in the twisted freakoffs. Now, recall, Cassie has told the court that she never wanted to take part in these intimate sessions with these escorts, but did so to please Combs at first, and later because she was scared of the repercussions of not doing so. Cassie is then asked about the explicit messages that were exchanged between her and Sean Combs. In one of them, she writes, "Can't wait," referring to taking part in a freak-off. In another message, Combs told her that he was horny, and she said, "Oh my God, I was just about to text you the same thing." In one, she told him, "I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I feel like I wanna F." In one particular message, the court hears Cassie told Combs she deleted our little vid off her camera, calling it dope. She has previously alleged in court that the rapper used videos of her intimate encounters with male escorts to blackmail her. The jury now hears about the email sent in 2009 in which Cassie seems to be expressing conflicting feelings about taking part in the freak-off intimate sessions with the escorts. In the email, she told Combs she needed to trust him beyond it being intimate, that in order to be more open intimately, I need to feel safe, like home. Cassie told Combs that the last time was a mistake, but since has made her feel a little dirty and grimy as opposed to intimate and spontaneous. This was the reason she was going so-called back and forth in her mind with wanting and not wanting to do it. At first, when they were so in love, there were no questions asked, and it felt right. She told him, "I get nervous that I'm just becoming the girlfriend that you get your fantasies off with." The defense lawyer asked Cassie if this was an important part of their relationship, and Cassie replies, "It was an integral part." The defense lawyer now goes into asking Cassie about her 21st birthday in August of 2007. Cassie had told the court this week that Sean Combs, who was 37 at the time, first kissed her then. Cassie told the jury that Combs brought Britney Spears to her 21st birthday celebration. The party was held at a club in Las Vegas, and Combs invited Britney Spears to the soiree, as well as singer and music producer Dallas Austin. Cassie explains that after Combs had kissed her that night, their relationship moved into a romantic one. The defense lawyer for Diddy then began to talk about these freak-offs, in which Cassie described how when she first agreed to start participating in the freak-offs, she sometimes wore masks and wigs to disguise herself. And this was something that she mentioned earlier this week when the prosecution was questioning her. Cassie says the encounter itself was pretty crazy. I really followed Combs' lead on that because I've never done it before. I definitely didn't want anyone to know. Diddy's lawyer then asked, "You feared the release of explicit tapes would ruin your career?" Cassie replies, "Yep." Now, despite the seriousness of the topics that Cassie is talking about, in one moment, Cassie giggles as Diddy's lawyer brings up a loving 2007 email. Cassie broke a smile as Combs' lawyer brought up this email that she wrote to her boyfriend just a few weeks after her 21st birthday party. Cassie said, "It's making me giggle because it's from 2007. The email expressed how grateful Cassie was to be in the much older music producer's life, but also how she felt he was constantly weary of her. She also wrote that she felt that her then friend Carrie Morgan would have been the better one to go after, since I've witnessed more than once you realizing that she was way better fitting for you than I am. Cassie wrote, "It's hard for me to handle that. I'm hurt that you think I'm a malicious person." The defense lawyer now turns to asking about her lawsuit. Cassie sued Combs in a civil case in November of 2023, which is when her allegations about him were first made public. Cassie then admitted that she didn't know of anyone being aware of Sean Diddy Combs' freakoffs until her 2023 lawsuit revealed them to the world. Combs' lawyer asks, fair to say Combs' career was ruined? When your lawsuit was published in 2023, you understand his career was ruined, right? Cassie replies, I could understand that, yeah. So now at this point in the session, Diddy's lawyers are positioning and painting Diddy's intimate preferences as part of a swingers lifestyle that has been talked about over the last couple days. And the main point that they want to make here is that despite it being not traditional and people may not agree with it, it doesn't make it sex trafficking. The court then begins to hear details about an exchange between Combs and Cassie from July 2012. In it, they talk about having intimate relations with each other after they just had a freak-off session. Combs says it's his favorite part. Defense lawyer Anna Estevio asked Ms. Ventura about the swingers lifestyle and if she understood that freak-offs, intimate sessions with male escorts, were consistent with this. Cassie then replies, they are very different. Miss Estevio asks if she was keeping freak-offs a secret from her friends, and she said that she was. Cassie then testified and said that she occasionally watched Diddy have intimate relations with other women and that it happened between 2 and 4 times. Cassie said it happened, but not often, noting that Combs had brought up her watching him with other women, frequently enough. Defense lawyer Anna Estevio asked Cassie about Sean Diddy Combs' impact on her confidence. Cassie puts it that the rapper would put her down, but also build her up. Ms. Ventura replies, absolutely, and acknowledges he called her a queen and sent many messages in similar vein. She was asked how else he built her up. Cassie replies, words are helpful. He's got that inspiring energy inside him. Now, I want to pause here for a second for everybody to understand why I'm doing this. You see, I see similar parallels to the relationship of Harry and Meghan to Cassie and Diddy. Now, it may not be as abusive in the sense of physical like this, but when we talk about psychological, I see this with Harry, where Meghan builds him up, love bombs him, only to then devalue him and cut him down. I see Meghan Markle and Diddy as the same. Both are narcissistic psychopaths. You know, and the question of asking, well, why did Cassie stay in this on and off again relationship for a duration of 10 years? I think it's the same question that we could ask about Harry and Meghan. Why is Harry staying with this whore who has practically destroyed everything that he's ever known? It's because when it's good, it's really good. And I do believe that Harry is holding out hope that things will go back to the way that they were when he first met Meghan. As delusional as that is, it is that hope, and that's what keeps him in the relationship. Because where is he going to go outside of the relationship? He has no family, he has no friends. So would he rather stay in a relationship and be miserable than be single without anybody? Yeah. And I think to a certain degree, Cassie felt the same way, where she's like, okay, I will deal with this freak-off because this is what he likes. And probably in her mind, she's thinking it's a fair trade-off for living this lifestyle with him, as well as opportunities that have been offered. And she fell in love with him and was willing to do anything for him to keep him. So I think part of the reason why she stayed around for so long and tolerated the abuse was because she wanted to go back to the way that it was in the very beginning, when she felt that they were in love and that he was kind and caring. Because in the back of her mind, she's thinking that kind person exists. It's in there. I mean, even up to the testimony yesterday when she said in the closure meeting that they had before he raped her, she said he was giving off this romantic, friendly, kind vibe. Anyway, all I'm saying here is that I see Harry in the same psychological mess that Cassie was in. Picking back up where I left off, the defense now turns to talking about the mind-altering substances, in which they ask her if she believes Combs was an addict, and Cassie confirms and says she believes so and would say he was addicted to opiates. Cassie has previously said this week that she also used opiates and tells the court withdrawing is painful. You get super sick, you can't do normal things. She also says she would be nauseous and have stomach issues. You become more agitated and uncomfortable. Cassie then tells the court that Combs's mood often depended on whether or not he was withdrawing from opiates and became more angry and volatile. She then told the court that Combs took mind-altering substances that included ecstasy, MDMA, and coke. Cassie wasn't aware of him being addicted to any of them. She was then asked how ecstasy made you feel, and she says euphoria, and that she would take it herself to be high during freakoffs. So now the questioning turns to talking about Kim Porter, another long-term partner of Sean Diddy Combs. Combs was with Porter, the mother of 4 of his children, when he met Cassie. Defense lawyer asked Cassie if there was a time when Combs left a freak off with Cassie in order to see Kim Porter, and also if she was jealous of her. Cassie replies and says, "I had some jealousy of Ms. Porter." Cassie admitted that it upset her that Combs spent all the holidays with Kim Porter, with whom he shared son Christian, 26, and twins Delilah and Jesse, 17. Porter died in 2018. This bothered Cassie so much that once she messaged Diddy referencing Bruce Willis's and Eddie Murphy's blended families, as she lamented not being close to his kids. She says, "As much as you think you're Bruce Willis, you aren't." Ventura said this on July 2nd, 2013, citing, "He's married, and before he was married, the family as a whole went on trips together, or just him and his woman. Eddie Murphy and Paige took his kids away on their own." The R&B singer was apparently referencing how Murphy's wife, Paige Butcher, has a relationship with the comedian's children from previous relationships. Willis also had a blended family after having kids with first wife Demi Moore and second wife Emma Hemming Willis. Cassie's message goes on to say she had been on the edge of tears all week. And Ventura clarified for the jury that she was upset she didn't have the chance to form a relationship with Combs's kids. Keep in mind that Diddy broke up with Kim Porter in 2007. The bottom line is that Cassie wanted to be a part of his family and not just the side piece. Diddy's defense lawyer then moves to April 2014 and asks about another woman. Cassie says she found out about her through social media and was really upset. Cassie says that Combs denied anything was happening when she had asked him. Diddy's lawyer then said Combs did not have any freak-offs with this other woman and asked if that had made Cassie upset. Cassie replied, yes. She goes on to tell the jurors Combs also learned she had been unfaithful, which was a little scary. Still on this subject of jealousy, defense lawyer Anna Estevio asks about Sean Combs' jealousy rather than Cassie's. Cassie agrees that he could be more jealous than she was, and he lost his temper when he suspected she was seeing other men. Questions then turn to the topic of Scott Mescudi, better known as the rapper, Kid Cudi, who came up during Cassie's second day on the stand. The court heard these two dated briefly during a rough patch in Cassie's relationship with Combs, which was on and off from 2007 to 2018. Defense lawyer Estavio tells the court that Combs thought collaborating with Kid Cudi might help her music career, and Cassie says now that yes, Combs had put that together. Combs learned she was having a relationship with Mescudi in December 2011. She admits having a burner phone, second phone, to contact him and that they were not in the best place, meaning her and Combs, at the time. Cassie said, "I did not want him to find out. I thought it would be way too dangerous if he found out." The defense lawyer asks because he would be insanely jealous. Cassie replies, yes. The court hears that despite her break with Combs, the freak-off sessions continued and he discovered her second phone. Cassie Ventura alleges he attacked her after finding out. Diddy's defense lawyer now returns to Sean Combs' relationship with another woman who was mentioned earlier in the case. Cassie saw a video of them together and was definitely angry, she tells the court. This came after the rapper had spent years saying he was done with that woman. Cassie tells the court she broke up with Combs and blocked him. Diddy's defense lawyer then puts it to her that Combs at one point suspected Cassie was seeing actor Michael B. Jordan, who was known for films including Black Panther and Creed. Cassie tells jurors that her friends and her parents knew about her problems with Diddy at different points. Combs went to her family's home to speak to her parents to discuss their problems. Cassie told the jurors that she was present for some of the conversations. Defense lawyer Anna Estevio then asked if there was a time when they discussed getting off mind-altering substances. Cassie says rehab really wasn't a thing in their relationship. Defense attorney Anna Estevio asks, part of the reason you wanted to participate in the freakoffs was to have your time with him? It was a special time with him you cherished? Cassie replies, yes. Then Estevio asks, it was a time to connect with him? Cassie Ventura replies, yes. Then Anna Estevio asks, did you ever call each other get high partners? Cassie replies, yes. The court hears that in the summer of 2016, Combs wanted her to stop taking so many mind-altering substances. Asked what his reaction was when he found out she had taken mind-altering substances with others without telling him, Cassie says, explosive. Cassie then says Combs told dealers in LA to stop selling to her. Cassie goes on to talk about the night that Diddy OD'd on opioids after Playboy Mansion party. Cassie Ventura was asked if she remembered the night Sean Diddy Combs OD'd, and she questions and asks, was that around the time Whitney Houston died? And she said, I believe so. Cassie then goes on to say, that evening we had a freak-off. We went to a sex club in San Bernardino, and then he had a party at the Playboy Mansion that night, and I went home. Cassie then said, from what he told me, he took a really strong opioid that night, but we didn't know what happened, so we took him to the hospital. Combs' defense lawyer asked then, during the entire duration of your relationship, you two were addicted to painkillers? Cassie replied, very much so. The court takes a small break and comes back to talk about the baby oil used in the freak-offs. In this session, Diddy defense lawyer Anna Estevio appeared to try to dispel the allegation that Sean Diddy Combs laced baby oil with this date grape drug. Defense lawyer Anna Estevio asks Cassie a series of questions pertaining to this, beginning with, you testified you would get Johnson & Johnson baby oil from the drugstore, right? Cassie replies, yes. Then Estevio asks, you testified yesterday you would heat up the baby oil and that's the only thing you did to it, right? Cassie replies, yes. Then the defense attorney asks, the pool filled with baby oil would require a lot, right? Cassie replies, yes. Now at this point, court is about to now come to a close, but Diddy's defense begins to start delving deeper into the messages sent between Cassie and Sean Diddy Combs ahead of the Intercontinental Hotel stay on March 5th, 2016. Messages between Cassie and Sean Diddy Combs appear to show Cassie taking the lead on planning a freak-off at the hotel where Cassie was beaten up. Anna Estevio asks Cassie, you were suggesting doing a freak-off at a hotel? It doesn't say it here, Cassie explained before saying yes. Then Anna Estevio had said, this is all arranging for this freak-off that's about to happen at the Intercontinental and we've seen all the effects of it? Cassie says, yep. Cassie tells the court she didn't want him to think she didn't want to take part in the freak-off and relented. After, quote-unquote, he asked me over and over again. Now, as many recall during her earlier questioning by the prosecution, Cassie said she was trying to keep Combs happy because she did not want to ruin her career with her film premiere coming up. Mrs. Estevio asked Cassie, at this point, he has sent you loving messages. He attended a lunch and promotional event for your movie. He appears to be supportive of what you want to do. That is your interpretation? Cassie says it is. The court hears more messages which suggest Combs did not want to get too high for anything intimate to happen, says Cassie. Cassie finished up testifying around 5 p.m. and is expected to continue again tomorrow morning on Friday. Another Combs accuser, Dawn Richard, is slated to be one of the next witnesses to testify, and she will be in the Manhattan Federal Court building on Friday. Dawn Richard is a singer in group Danity Kane, which was founded by Diddy Combs. In her September lawsuit, accused Combs of once breaking into her dressing room and groping her boobs and butt. Richard also said she once saw a horrifying incident when Combs slammed Cassie against a wall, choking her, and dragged her up a flight of stairs at his Los Angeles home. As I reflect on Cassie Ventura's testimony over the last several days, especially today, based on the reports I've read about this testimony throughout this week, I do feel a tremendous amount of sympathy for her. As it was described, she was composed yet emotional, detailing the abuse and coercion while visibly 8.5 months pregnant, I believe, which suggests to me a challenging ordeal, especially from an emotional standpoint. The one thing, though, that I'm still uncomfortable with right now and unsure is if this testimony will be effective in supporting the prosecution's actual purpose here, which is the sex trafficking and racketeering charges. The accounts, as reported, depict a consensual relationship marked by abuse, mutual mind-altering substance use, and jealousy, with the defense today using text messages to argue her willing participation in those freakoffs. While Cassie's experience sounds incredibly distressing, the reports that I have been reading from various news outlets don't clearly tie her story to the broader criminal enterprise alleged, which leaves me a little concerned about its impact on the trial's outcome, considering Cassie is the star witness. But now, the way that we could look at it, because racketeering involves the enterprise actually conducting these illegal activities, Cassie was an employee of Diddy because he signed her to Bad Boy Records. And if it's on record that Cassie, as well as the assistants, had been setting up the hotel suites, as well as buying this baby oil and buying the candles, as well as participating in it, then possibly that's the route that they're going. Tomorrow wraps up Cassie's testimony. It'll be interesting to see if the defense team are able to catch Cassie in a gotcha moment. I think they were trying very hard to do that today and were not successful, in my opinion, based off of what I was reading. And apparently, this trial I read is supposed to go for, I think, 10 weeks. So, if that is the case, then we are really early to make any kind of judgment as to which way this case is going to go. But I'll tell you this much, if it does continue down the path where these witnesses are coming forward and all they're talking about is the same stuff that Cassie is talking about, such as the abuse and the freak-offs, then I think we have a little bit of a problem. We really do need to get into the meat and bones of tackling the actual racketeering and the illegal trafficking that had been allegedly going on. So we'll just have to see. But I'll tell you this much. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to be able to commit myself to reporting on this every day. I'm telling you this right now. This stuff is heavy. I don't necessarily know if my mental health will be able to handle everything that's going to come out in this trial. I don't necessarily know if I have the stomach for it. As is this week, it was hard to read some of the things that Cassie went through. So, I'm not going to make any promises. I'm just saying that I may just do this in bits and go back to what my core focus is for this channel. I did this because I really did want to learn about Cassie in this situation, and I see so many parallels between Cassie and Harry being in an abusive relationship, while Meghan is not putting Harry through all these so-called freak-offs. She is psychologically messing with him in like the worst way. And I think that is an interesting aspect to this relationship that Diddy had with Cassie, and how he controlled her the same way that Meghan controls Harry. Now, what I'm really interested in to see over the course of the next 10 weeks is if any names are going to be listed or dropped. Because I was surprised that Cassie didn't name any particular name aside from the escorts as well as a few people that worked with Diddy. But other than that, it sounded like in her testimony, based on what I've read, that it was her, Diddy, and these escorts in these freak-offs. Like, there was no mention of other people participating from parties or celebrities, which I thought that was not the case. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all the information that was out there ahead of this trial indicated that was the case. So I don't know what you guys think. Let me know below some of your thoughts here if you have been following this and what you see happening. Anyhow, leave your thoughts below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.